Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of We Should Have Recorded That with Phil and
Adam. Hi, Phil.
Hey, Adam. How's it going?
I am doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good. Doing good. We started our first day of school with students today, so yeah.
Yeah, you were just telling me that. That's amazing.
So we're actually gonna talk about that today.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of foreshadowing here. But before we do that, um, dear listeners, if you are enjoying our conversations, if you want to contribute, please reach out to us via YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Also, you may reach out to us um, on the Anchor website and leave us a voice message. And so we would appreciate your interactions.
We would. It makes us feel less like we are talking into the void. And, dear listeners, we would actually love to hear your suggestions of what you'd like us to talk about in future episodes. Give us some direction. Give us some requests. Most loyal listeners are really reticent to make these suggestions because they think that we'll ask them to be guests on the podcast. And all I have to say is, yes, we may ask you to be a guest on our podcast, but all you need to do is say no, and we promise not to put too much peer pressure on you.
Right, yes, yeah,
But we would love ideas because we are but two very busy music educators. And so sometimes the creative juices are 100% devoted to our day jobs. And we come to our night job, our Tuesday night recording session of WSRTwPA, and we sometimes feel a little bit uninspired. So, dear listener, inspire us as only you can do.
Yes, we probably should have had Michelle on with us, Savaggio, about to talk about this episode. Maybe that's something we could do in the future.
All right, maybe a future week soon. Number one fan.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So today we are going to talk about going back to school, because that is what we are both doing. I've already done. You're getting ready to do.
Yeah.
And so we want to talk about that. I mean, are you a little upset that summer's almost over, Adam?
I mean, summer is over. It's not almost over. Summer is over, unfortunately. And here's how I feel. I am excited to go back. I was really excited to go back when I thought we wouldn't have to mask.
Right.
I must admit that some of my enthusiasm was dampened by that. But I am very excited to make music this year. My job description has changed a little bit this year. I'll be doing more choirs and less classes, fewer classes.
Okay.
So I'm excited about that. I think what so now that I've said the positive, I will admit that I may be feeling less energy at this point in the summer, last day of my summer vacation, than I have in the past. I think there are a couple of reasons for that. The positive is that I had a very busy summer with a ton of time on the road and wonderful travels. So all of that was amazing. But I vacation hard. I really pedal to the metal. I really vacation hard. So that left me just a little bit drained. And then I think the other thing is there are two more things I'll mention. One of them is just that we ended our semester very late in the spring. Our spring
Mm-hmm.
semester went quite late. So the summer was, in actuality, several weeks shorter than it would be typically.
Mm-hmm.
So that's difficult. Just less time for rest and recuperation.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and then finally, I'll say um, last year was such a difficult year with COVID restrictions that um, I think it just left me feeling more burnt out than I am accustomed to feeling at the end of an academic year. And so I feel like I'm, still recovering from that, and uh, I'm praying, quite literally praying, that uh, this year ahead is not, it's whatever this year is. Of course, it's going to be fatiguing because we work hard, right, Phil?
Yeah, no, yes,
But
it is.
I do pray that it is not fatiguing in the same ways that last year was. I pray that this year ahead contains more of those aesthetic moments that inspired me to be a music educator. And I think I have a reason to believe that this year will be
Mm-hmm.
filled with more aesthetic moments. Although there are still COVID restrictions, um, things this fall just look significantly more normal than things last fall. So I am grateful for that, and I look forward to this year with some anxiety, yes, but also much anticipation. All right,
Yeah.
Phil, your turn. How are you feeling as you've started your school year?
Whenever a few weeks ago when we went back for professional development, I think maybe the night before I could just kind of really feel a sense of peace. And I think like you were saying the idea of, even though for you said you haven't really felt like you had the full reset, recharge for this summer. In that moment, I felt like, wow, I am excited about
Mm,
the upcoming school year. And even though still kind of thinking about some of the challenges that we have with COVID, I'm looking forward to making music. One, because like last year was my first full year of teaching,
right.
and so this year, you know, uh, I have my feet more firm on the ground. I have a my expectations were either confirmed, or I'm like, okay, maybe I need to change my expectations for the students and how we approach things, and then like having a desire to, all right, they really were able to get this or that. Okay, let's see how
Yes.
much further we can go. And so like I started the professional development with with the sense of anticipation. And for me, I'm not teaching PE this year. So I'm happy about that. Not so much because I hated physical fitness, but I, but because I don't have to divert attention from trying to teach music to figure out
Yes.
I'm gonna teach PE.
Yes. Oh, I'm very excited for you.
Yeah, and we have a great I have a great colleague who was hired, who is going to teach PE, and he, along with some other things. And so really glad. I mean, that's the other thing. So like last year, I think um there were there were seven, I think, teachers. So we had three specialists, and no, I take that back. Five. There were eight of us because there's five classroom
Uh-huh.
teachers and three specialists. And so this year now we have the 8+1. We are adding another specialist, so we're up to 9. And and I think everybody who is at the school is everyone who has come back or either has been hired is excited about being here, and I mean ready to excited about teaching, I guess. I mean, we probably all have different different concerns, especially around COVID. But so yeah, that, and I'm back in my classroom, and I will take a picture. I put up I put up the hand signs for solfege. I put up my Takadimi syllables for rhythm solfege. I wanted to give it a name, rhythm solfege. Well, I didn't give it a name, but I wanted to use that so that I can't take credit. I'm not going to take credit. I'm thankful for teachers who shared that wisdom with me. I want to quickly squash that. I did not come up with rhythm solfege, but
if only.
Yes, I would be rich, right? But anyway, I've put some of that stuff. I'm gonna add more stuff to the walls because last year I was barely in the classroom only, and so now the students are gonna come into the music room, and so I'm looking forward to.
These are really positive changes.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not, I was telling someone, I was leaving something in every classroom. Like I would go, the next time I would go back, I was like, oh, this is where I left that book, or these mallets. Looking for these mallets, and they've been in the classroom in another classroom for 2 weeks. So yeah, these are very good, very positive changes. So.
I am happy for you.
Thank you.
And so to answer the question, how are you feeling about the start of school? Mm-hmm. It sounds like you would say eager.
I am eager. The thing is, Adam, like I said, I just feel like, and I've like, the Lord Jesus has given me a sense of peace, and I'll be praying for you as you are trying to prepare and kind of, and still I hope you do get that refreshing before you see your students next week or this week, because you will see them on the 30th. Is it the 30th? Well, that's next
Monday.
Is it the 30th?
I'll see them on Monday. The 30th, yes.
I'll be praying for refreshing before you see them, and maybe you will be refreshed when you see them. Like
maybe.
I think that was something. I think that's exciting too. Like when the students see you, especially in elementary school, because they just it's just kind of I guess innocence may be a good word. It's just if they're excited to see you, they're gonna show it. They're gonna show that they missed you.
And that I will say that has been. We experience a little bit of pre-school, back to school jitters every year. I don't know. I haven't had my nightmare yet where I show up to the first day of class and don't have anything prepared. I usually have that nightmare one of these nights before school while I'm before the semester starts. But the jitters are consistent, but also consistent is the excitement that comes to see your students back. Your students who we haven't seen in a few months. I am very excited to see my students again face to face.
Yeah. And I mean, and I guess another positive change is that all of the students are in person.
Right.
All of the students, and thankfully they're all masked. As a private school, we didn't have to really contend with some of the issues that Broward. I live in Broward County and I work around Dade County, that Miami-Dade County. So we haven't had to really contend with that. That was an easy choice for our principal at head of school to make. And so we are taking those precautions, but we do, like you said, we want to be in person. Having them in person is another great thing.
Yes.
Another great feeling.
Yes, it is. Well, Phil,
Mm-hmm.
next item on our agenda to discuss is comparing the feelings of pre-academic year when you are teaching pre-K through 12 versus your pre-academic year feelings when you're teaching at the collegiate level. And, you know, it is, so here's, as someone with experience teaching in the public school, 7th through 12th grade, versus, and now someone with experience teaching at the university level, this is difficult for me to compare because
Really? Okay.
I am not the same person.
What? Right. Well,
now
yeah.
That I was when I was teaching public school. So my feeling, I don't feel, I feel like the way that my feelings are different really are more about like just the fact that I am a different person rather than a difference because of teaching at different age levels.
Okay, well then let's talk about that. I think that's an interesting part of it.
Well, I mean, it's so difficult to put into words, but this is a podcast, so I have to try. I can't draw a picture to express my feelings. So when I was preparing to teach public school, I think I was, I usually entered the year more refreshed than I feel now. And I think there are a couple of reasons for that. I was not the vacation hard kind of guy back then. I remember my vacations, quote unquote vacations, during the summer for the years that I taught public school. I was in my 20s, and my vacations were like going to 9 weddings every summer. I mean, all of my friends were getting married, and so I would go to like a dozen weddings in the summer, and that was all of my travel. That was my entire travel budget, was going to weddings.
Seeing upstate New York.
And I was younger, right? I had more energy back then. I was young whippersnapper. Now, even though I feel more confident in what I'm doing and just more sure than I was back then that I remember how to do my job. I remember that being a real fear, that I would like walk into a choir rehearsal and suddenly have forgotten how to conduct. That never happened, thankfully. Still, even though I feel more confident now, there is this is going to sound really negative, and I don't mean it to come across that way. I'm just being honest. There is a weariness to going back now. There's just like this, not weary about going back, but just the like physical exhaustion component. So, how do you feel different as a teacher going back to school versus as a student, Phil?
Yeah, as a teacher, like you were saying, even though like you said, for you, school doesn't start till the 30th. You're preparing now, and probably thought about it even a little in July. I mean, maybe not this year. Maybe you
Of
didn't.
course.
Okay,
Of
yeah, right.
course.
Like as a teacher, I mean, we are like you're probably like you're always at some degree thinking about the next year and or if you're looking for or maybe even just coming across like wow this would be good for my students and so that's that
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
that like that's one difference as a student you know I could possibly take the summer off. Like not practice as much over the summer or something like that. But as a teacher, I'm kind of like thinking about how am I how can I what can I do better? What am I gonna do different this upcoming school year? And that I mean that I think that's like probably an overall change in general. Like you can leave like the in college you could just leave the classroom and kind of forget about the forget about the class. I mean until you did your homework or whatever. But as a teacher, you're like, was I clear? Am I gonna have to teach some of those things next class? All of those things you're always thinking about it. So, I think that's kind of a difference. That's the difference for me. I think.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Phil, do you have any new school year rituals?
One of the big ones I think um, is buying clothes. Like so
Oh,
that's a big one. Like I did not I wasn't really big on that as a student, but as a teacher, um yeah, like this polo, this is new. I wore this for the first time today. So,
okay.
you
Uh-huh.
know,
Uh-huh.
and so like that's one of the things and I think Wendy is a motivation for that. She has encouraged me to always refresh my wardrobe. But that's one. Do I have any other rituals? I don't think I do right now. I'm trying to think of something that I feel like I need to do like something that sets me that like gets me ready for the school year. I can't think of anything right now, anything else. But if I do, I'll mention it. What about you?
I don't really have uh rituals. Like
Mm-hmm.
your clothes shopping. No, I don't have that. Like no back to school shopping for me.
Uh huh.
Um, no,
No
gosh.
rituals.
I mean, sitting on the floor of my office picking out new music, but
That's a ritual.
I
That's a
I guess so.
ritual.
Yes, I guess so. But that's like work related. Your example was not really like on the job.
That's true.
It was like
Maybe.
a way of outside of work, of getting ready for work.
I mean that's true, but I think that is definitely still a ritual. I mean that's something you do every year. That like right. I mean I think we've talked about that before. You play through all the pieces and new pieces and pick those and stuff like that. So you have rituals.
I guess
You
so.
have rituals. I mean
Yes,
I'm
but they're boring.
no I'm
I
they're
have
not. That's not
no
boring.
I have no fashionable polo shirts to show off for my rituals.
I mean, this is a step up for me. As I'm like I've been usually wearing a t-shirt, so like I mean, wearing a polo is kind of a step right now.
Yes. Yes.
Is kind of what? Let me ask you this question: like, what have you? Um, and maybe you don't want to share this because you may this. This may be if you have students listening, you don't want them to hear this before you share it. with the chorale. But have you picked a theme for this upcoming school year?
Yes, I have.
Uh
Um,
huh.
and I'm very excited about it. But I will
Okay.
not, I cannot reveal to our audience
Okay.
the theme before I reveal to the students. But I will say
Okay.
that it is inspired by our present circumstances.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It is a theme designed to evoke hope,
Mm-hmm.
and the central word is soul, Soul. But
Mm.
other than that, I cannot reveal the theme. That would be unfair to my students because
I understand.
here's why, Phil.
Why
Our
is that?
podcast is free of charge,
Uh huh.
whereas it is quite expensive to be a student at Roberts Wesleyan College. They deserve first dibs on the fee.
I imagine so. Yeah, definitely is more expensive than listening to the podcast.
Yes. So,
Only if we were
yes.
getting paid that much to do this.
If
Only if.
only. Yes. So,
It, I wanna. This is like kind of off topic. This is
uh-oh.
off
Uh-oh.
topic.
Our
But
WSRTwPA trademark off topic.
I don't. I. A song that I like, but it is. I think the setting, the way the songwriter uses words to convey the meaning um is very. What is the word? I slip in my mind. It's leaving me right now. Veiled, very veiled. You have to listen and think about what he's saying. But the song "Imagine" by John Lennon.
Mm-hmm.
You know that song.
Of
I,
course I know that.
you, you, I was just looking at your face though. You was kind of like you were thinking about it. So that's. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But I mean, beautiful piano progression, and the little da da da, the little chromatic little thing. But the reason why I say it's kind of difficult and veiled, especially for our Christian audience, is because like the first line is "Imagine there is no heaven."
Yes.
That is the way he starts the song. But the point, in the song is that if we didn't live like we were, trying to please God, or if we were trying to escape hell, what if we just loved each other? What if we just treated people kind? If we only lived for today, like if we had extra, if we really could give, what if we gave that and we wasn't thinking about I won't have for tomorrow if I give today? Like that message is a beautiful message. I think. What do you think? What do you think about that?
Um. Ah. I don't know. I have some.
I took us off topic. Go ahead.
Yeah. I have some real reservations with the bad theology of that
I
song.
know. Uh huh. Uh huh.
Um.
I
So yeah.
I that's how I started. Yeah, it definitely is problematic. But I really like I said, I think it's veiled. Like the message is too veiled. But I think is trying to get at something. The reason why what made me think about it is the theme that you're what you're the way you were describing your theme made me think about that song. What if we, in kind of what we were talking about last week, if we loved each other, if we really loved each other, and if we tried to live in that way. I got to find a better song then. I got Anyway.
Oh, I love it. Oh.
Anyway.
Well,
So,
okay, Bill, to wrap up, why
go
don't we
ahead.
talk about removing, adding, or tweaking our processes as educators? This is something that I find very difficult to do. I have at times I have felt hesitant to introduce new processes into my classrooms because it's like, I want to be consistent. And yet I also competing and usually stronger impulse is to be a better teacher this year than I was the year before. So I find it a difficult thing to be like, okay, I know this is how we did stuff last year, but this year, here are the new rules. How do you feel about that now that you're going into your second year?
Sorry. Going into my second year, I think I am still, kind of determining some of those processes, and so it is, I think, one of my biggest things and I think I don't know if I shared this in the podcast, but the consistency in I think I have shared that before. The consistency in the processes that I have, and so I probably am more tweaking and adding, and trying to not so much remove processes, but removing me out of the way of the processes. If that makes sense, trying to remove me out of the way of the processes and
Yes.
and adding. So yeah.
Yes, I'm with you. Um, it's difficult.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. But
it's
go
it's
ahead.
difficult.
I hear B. It's okay, man. We know you have a
Who
dog.
knows? I'm sorry, audience.
It's all right.
I need to be downstairs because I only have air conditioning in
Downstairs.
2 rooms in my house. Yes, and B sees something out the window. Sorry.
It's okay. So what I was what was one of the things that I really want to work on, and as I mentioned on a specific process, the silent conducting, because in a general music room I'm doing a lot of ready begin, or ready, breathe or something like that, and so just practicing silent conducting, because eventually we're going to go out of the classroom and stand on a stage, and so that's something I want to be more intentional about, just and not only just so that they will do that with me, but so that they can do it with each other. So eventually, my students that are capable and have a desire could stand in front of their fellow classmates and lead them, because they've been seeing me do it. So that's one that I really want to do. That I really want to focus on being better at. Just giving them breath, giving them tonality,
Yes.
establishing the key, maybe even, establishing the beat, but then establishing the tempo, and then, yeah. So.
Yes. Yes. Well, Phil, anything else for the good of the order?
I think that's it. I think we covered everything.
All right. Well, dear audience, do remember that we'd love to hear from you. And with no further business, I'll say bye for now.
Adios.